Collective. We're back again for a second chat between me and Spencer. Spencer will let you know what the chat is about today, and then we will go from there and get into the subject. So, greetings, Spencer.
Welcome, Sophia, and welcome to everybody at the Expression of Consciousness, wherever you are in the world today. Yeah, today's topic is increased spirit phenomena and your natural ability of clairsentience. Because myself and Sophia have been talking a lot about spirit phenomena and our experiences with spirit. And we've been noticing that recently more and more people have been getting in touch with us as regards to spirit phenomena. And so there's definitely signs that spirit and the universe are becoming more active within this 3D reality and within our world. And this is because of the ascension of consciousness with the planet and with the ascension of consciousness with humanity. Because we obviously, the planet is going through a phase of an awakening where our consciousness is rising from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. And because that is happening, that is thinning the veil between the physical world and the spirit world, which is the reason behind increased phenomena with spirit activity in people's homes and around in their daily lives. Like when we were talking today, you mentioned about a crystal that suddenly has appeared in your house out of nowhere. You don't know where it's come from.
Yeah, and it's a big size as well. It's not like, like a tiny one that you might just have forgot you had.
Yeah.
It's very distinctive. So it was like, where did this come from? And I spoke to my children who love my crystals too. So have you seen this before? And they're like, no. And then when I showed you today,
yeah,
then you explained what it was, like, because you said that it was smoky quartz and that's protection.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, after I spoke to you, I remembered that I've been speaking to my ancestors and guides about, more protection.
Mm-hmm.
So it was funny that the gift they sent me fits in my hand to be able to like rub it almost like a worry stone.
Yeah.
It fits all along my soul. It's perfect fit. And it is for what I've wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And they provided it. But the fact that they provided it is amazing. Like a spirit made a physical object appear on my altar. And it was just sat in the middle of the top. My altar, I've got about 3 shelves.
Yeah.
And it was sat on the main shelves where I keep all my crystals, not on the other shelves where I keep the drums or where I keep the ancestor stuff.
Yeah.
It was on my crystal shelf. So it was in the right place as well.
And what I was explaining to you about what that is because you knew it wasn't there before and it's appeared from nowhere, so to speak. That is the universe apporting that object into your life because you've been asking for protection. They've sent that gift. What they've done, they've took that from wherever that smoky quartz was mined, for instance, or wherever it's grown within the world, and they've apported it from there, dematerialized it, and materialized it into your physical reality. Because remember, everything is energy. So,
yeah,
things are only physical matter to us because that's how vibration expresses itself in this 3D reality. So everything seems as if it is physical to us through our experience with the objects around us. But that's because of the vibration of the air, of the environment we're in. It's meant to be that feeling of physical, tangible feeling. But to the core of everything, really, everything is energy. And the universe knows how to manipulate energy from something that is not solid and it is in a vibrational form, slow it down and make it physical matter. And that's what they've done with the crystal.
Yeah.
Like then when you told me with that triggered a memory with myself about 10 or 12 years ago. I think it happened when I was in my mum's house, and I was talking to my friend, and we were talking about angels and the spirit world and how they can give us signs. Now, there'll be many people that will be tuning in and listening that they believe that feathers are a sign that their loved ones or angels are around them. And I was talking to my friend about this and say, you know, you can randomly find feathers. And he said, well, but feathers can come off birds, and there's birds everywhere. So feathers can be found anywhere, which, yeah, true, they can. But what I said to him was that, yeah, granted that is the case, but how do you explain feathers appearing from nowhere in your home? You know, small feathers appearing in your living room, unless you've got a bird, feathers shouldn't be appearing, you know? No. Okay, there are times that you could come in on your shoes and stuff, but they end up in really strange places. So I was saying, look, they can bring them into your environment to show that they're around. And he's like, no, I don't think that's the case. And the way the living room was set up, where I was sitting, I was in one armchair and he's sitting next to me in an armchair, and there's a gap in between. And I asked if he wanted a drink. And so I went to leave the room to get him a drink. And I walked in between the two chairs and went behind him to go to the kitchen. And as I went, just as I got behind him, there was a massive flash of white light. He turned round and was like, what the hell was that? And right from there was this, as this flash of white light happened, out of nowhere, a feather about an inch diameter, an inch long, manifested out of nowhere. And he saw that in front of his own eyes. And he was like, oh my God, that is so weird. And I just said, well, that's just the universe proving to you that that's what they can do. You know? So things like apports, the universe manifesting things, physical objects into your life, it's very possible that it's going to happen more often now than it may have done before. I know lots of people that have had gifts from the universe, that have had things manifested to them. Like a lady that I've known for many years, that she had a coin manifested to her. She was walking down the street and the universe told her to stop and look at the floor, and she spotted this coin, and it had the four angels, Angel Michael, Raphael, Uriel, on this coin. And that was apported from the spirit world. There ain't a coin like it. Although it's not even quite a coin. It hasn't got flat faces like a coin. It's sort of curved at the top. But I know a lot of people that have had apports. I mean, generally, apports happen in physical circles, because in those for physical mediumship, that environment is specific for manifestation, you see. So when you sit in a physical circle and you have a little cabinet thing where the spirit world can put things in, that's the more of an environment where it happens like that. But you know, what we're talking about an increased in phenomena is where people get chills, goosebumps, see spirit out of the corner of their eye. That kind of thing is becoming more apparent now than has been before.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a lot more myself. And we're mediums, so we're used to a certain amount. So for us to notice more, shows that there must be more.
Yeah.
But I know people who don't usually notice things starting to notice things.
Yeah.
So it shows that it's becoming so much more apparent now and so much more obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the story I told you with my oldest thinking I was talking to him outside the bathroom. And he said it was my voice and I was answering, but I was downstairs.
Yeah.
And there's lots of times when I'm about to talk to one of them now, and I think of what I'm going to say to them, and then they answer me, and I haven't said it yet. And I'm like, how did you know? I said, didn't you just ask it? No, I didn't say the words. So it's almost like telepathy.
Telepathy, yeah. I remember when I started out in my development, one of my mentors was talking about an African tribe that still use telepathy now as a form of communication with each other in the world.
Wow.
Because it was like nearly 20 years ago when she told me. I can't remember the tribe anymore or whereabouts in Africa it was. But obviously it's a tribe that doesn't have anything with the day-to-day world, so to speak. They're still sticking to their ancient abilities. They've kept that as it was, you know, our natural ability.
Yeah.
Because clairsentience, we all have it. Mediums use it. Mediums use clairsentience when they bring through the spirit world. They make a contact with a loved one, and they use clairsentience as a to feel things. So you'll feel the spirit world around you. You'll feel that connection of the energy of them coming forward. You will feel it's male or female. You can feel the condition that may have passed with. So if they had a lung problem, the medium would get tight chested or would wheeze. That's elements of clairsentience. That's when we are connected. We're connecting through energy with one another. We're tuned in to that energy, and we are allowing them to transmute that sensation into our awareness for us to feel it through, you could say, in the sense of him simulating it on you. But when people have, I mean, that's the way mediums work, in the sense when we work with clairsentience. But everybody has clairsentience naturally. For instance, those that say that there's no such thing as a spirit world, that there's nothing that goes bump in the night as such, you know, things as they are, as they see it in the physical. But a lot of people, I can guarantee 99% of people that are tuning into this channel that may not realize or may see themselves as a medium, have had the experience where they're in a room, even in their own house or anywhere like that, and they feel as if somebody's standing behind them, and they turn to look to see if somebody's there, and there's no one there. Now, people will have experienced that phenomena a lot, but they won't put it down to anything. They'll just put it down that the mind was making that up. But was it the mind making that up, or was it the fact, but due to the fact that another energy stepped into your auric field and you felt it? Because that's from my perspective as a medium, and knowing that everything is energy and we are one with the universe. We are consciousness. God expresses itself as consciousness, and everything you see around you is consciousness expressing itself. Because we are, everything is energy, we are a receiver and a transmitter of energy all the time. We are receiving and picking up signals and giving out signals all the time, and a lot of the time we won't necessarily know we're doing it, but it's happening. You know, we're giving out energy to and from, even in communication. The words we speak is energy. You know, that's why we got to be, you know, we should be mindful of the words we use, because words are spells. But going back to clairsentience, people will feel that or have had that experience where somebody is standing behind them. And another one of clairsentience that most people will feel is that sudden shiver down your spine, where the saying comes from, someone's walked over my grave. You know, no one has walked over your grave because it probably hasn't been created anyway, but no one has walked over your grave. It's a loved one, your guide, the universe, expressing their energy to you. They are letting you know that they are in your awareness. They want you to feel their presence. That's why you get that shiver down your spine, or you get goosebumps. You know, you can say it's the spirit world once you rule out all the physical environments that can cause something to happen. We have to think of things logically first before we say it's the spirit world. So if you suddenly go cold, if you're in your home, you know, is there a window open or is there a door open? You know, if that's the case, then possibly that would be the window. But if you rule certain logical elements out first, and then there's nothing else to rule out what's caused that shiver, then what is it? What is your body reacting to? What is causing your body to go like that, suddenly have goosebumps and suddenly make your temperature drop to the point where you're chattering your teeth?
Mm-hmm. Last week, I was having a conversation with my friend in Texas.
Yeah.
And while I was talking to him, it kept happening where I kept saying, again, it feels like someone walked over my grave. Now, that's not, they don't use that phrase. So
Yeah.
then I had to explain to him what I meant. And then I said to him, how do any of us ever know what somebody else meant when they said that? Like, do you get what I mean? It gets said to you, and somehow you just know what that means. Like,
Yeah.
you know, as a child, you know, oh, someone felt like someone walked over. And when you feel it, you know that that's the feeling, but how do you know? And once I said to him, it's like that shiver you get up your spine and makes you go, oh. Then he totally knew what the feeling was that I'm talking about. But it made me start to think, you know, like when we have sensations and we describe them, we all believe it's the same feeling that we're having and that we can
Yeah.
relate. And it was funny that we use this phrase for it and they don't. But it kept happening to me, like I say, within like a conversation. We're speaking for a few hours, and it must have happened about 4 or 5 times. And usually I don't get that. Like, I get it once every now and again.
Yeah.
And then things started swaying in the house and stuff and everything. And it was a really unusual night. But obviously there was things stepping into my auric field.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like I had someone phone me the other day that it's coming very apparent that there is more increased spirit phenomena in their home. They're hearing voices, and they are seeing mists moving around the house, in the house. And it's more than one person seeing those things. So it's not like one person is seeing it and making it up. Multiple people are seeing it at the same time. So I would say that's like a physical manifestation. It's not, if several people are seeing the same thing, the chances I would say that is a manifestation. It's not clairvoyance as such. It's physical phenomena. They are manifesting that into the physical form of a mist that is making several people see it at the same time.
Yeah.
And it moves into rooms, and they've heard the voice say "get out" and things like that.
Mm.
So I know. When they told me about it, I didn't get a bad feeling about it. I think it's someone winding them up. Seriously, I do. But because I know they are surrounded by lots of loved ones, because they're getting the loved ones in the dream state. Now that's another form of spirit phenomena. But when we go into the dream state, that's as being our soul authentic self. We go from we leave the physical 3D and go into the spirit world, the etheric world. When we dream, it's not a dream as such, it's an experience. Your soul is, whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're seeing in your dream, your soul is experiencing that in that moment. Your soul is going through that dream, is living it, is experiencing it, you know. So we're not dreaming as such, because we're multi-dimensional, we're multi-reality. When we're awake, we're in this dimension and this reality. When we sleep and we go to dream state, we're in another reality. We are in the etheric, and we're living or experiencing out things in that reality, which reflects back to us to give us understanding of what's happening in our physical life. That's why we should learn to interpret our dreams. But if you're having dreams with loved ones from the spirit world in them, you are having visitations from your loved ones in the spirit world. You know, what a lot of questions I get asked is, they get a loved one in the spirit world, and they say, oh, sometimes the loved one seems angry, or it doesn't look happy, or there's something wrong with them. Do you know what I mean? And they're not actually seeing their loved one in the true reflection of what they are. If they're seeing a loved one that's distorted in the sense that they look like there's something wrong with them, like they look more ill in that dream state than they did on the earth, or they look angry, or something bad happened to that loved one that's in the spirit world already, that's your mind expressing your fears to you about something that you need to address and deal with. Because our dreams are giving us messages all the time.
I thought about this the other day because I had a dream of my dog that died not long ago. And he looked very skinny and like he had no flesh. That sounds horrible, but it looked emaciated. And I keep thinking of him being buried, and obviously going through the processes. So it must have been in my subconscious, him wasting away. And so in my dream, he was there, he walked towards me, and I was crying, going, why have you come back when I'm going to have to lose you again? And I just woke myself up out the dream. I knew it was a dream. And I woke myself up and I stayed awake. I was like, I'm not having any more of that. So what you say makes sense, because he wouldn't show himself like that. So that was my mind.
Yeah. It could be part of your mind processing the death. You know, your mind could be looking at it in a physical sense that, when we get laid to rest, yes, the body decomposes, etc. But obviously the spirit and the soul doesn't do that. When we leave the physical body, we are light form. We are our light body when we leave our physical. When we go to the spirit world, we are our light body. And it is shaped like a humanoid, because that's the dimensions and the reality that the soul is in that present moment. It's the soul's point of ascension, if you will. So it's expressing that light body as a light body. But as time goes on, we progress through the realms of spirit and go beyond that. We lose that form and become closer to light, and just become light without shape as such. So it could be your subconsciousness processing that and expressing it in a visual form, that you feel the dog's decomposing because that's part of the death process. But only the physical does that. But remember, the dog has left that physical element now. You see, the body of the dog has gone to ground. It's give energy back to the earth, if you will. And his soul has gone on over Rainbow Bridge and is gone to another realm and having its experience there now and moving on. But your experiences you had together, you can't take that away from him no more, and no one else can take them experiences away from him, because every experience that you had with your dog and all your loved ones had with your dog, all those experiences now are part of his essence to his soul for eternity. That's with him forever. And that's part of his Akashic record system, if you will, which it will be stored with him and be within his essence for eternity. And also it will be stored in the Akashic records of the universe. So all those existences still in a way live forever. And when you go to the spirit world, for instance, you can go to the spirit world. When you're in the spirit world, you can be with your dog and you can go back to a memory and relive it if you want. Because remember, you're multi-reality. And in the spirit world, you can do whatever your mind projects within the realms of universal law. So, I know for definite, for many souls that have come back to me from the spirit world and said that when they're in the spirit world, they've liked certain things like concerts and so on, and they can go and relive a specific concert again from the spirit world.
Wow.
Because remember, that physical element has happened in this reality. Then every essence of that experience, and I mean every element of that experience, the atmosphere, everybody involved, etc., is stored in the Akashic records. So it's there for eternity. So when you go to the spirit world, you can go to that specific time frame again and relive it. So you could say that's time travel.
Well, I'll be at the Drum and Bass Awards in 2011.
Hey?
I said, well, I'll be at the Drum and Bass Awards in 2011.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, physical phenomena is going to be rapidly increasing now, and has been, I would say, for the last 12 months, I've noticed more people really emphasizing they're having experiences with the universe.
Yeah. I've noticed for myself since last June, say, things started to increase in meditations. There was more vivid. When I go into my clairvoyance, the images are like stepping into a film, whereas it used to be like more like I'd see a picture, but I wouldn't be part of the picture.
Yeah.
The way my clairvoyance is since last year is it's like I've stepped into a scene, and I can see the fabric of the scene. I can see every little nuance, and the colours are so vivid.
Yeah.
That's a breach. And then the feeling of spirit around me is increased. A lot more cold breezes all of a sudden if I ask a question. A lot more pressure on my third eye.
Yeah.
And then the air looks different. I've said this to people. It's almost like a pixelation, like, with a TV, the pixels.
Yeah, I've been experiencing
see the energy in the air.
Yeah. like there's twinkles in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get them as well. You know, like a flashes of light at the
Yes,
corner of
yes.
my eye. Sometimes it's in front of my face, like glitter has been
Yeah.
thrown up in the air, and I can see all these sparkles.
Yeah. I can't actually explain what that is or know what it is, but I'm going to have to wait for the universe to give me some. It's obviously, well, I guess it's the energy of the universe, because what is real? What is reality? What if we are raising our frequency and we are seeing the world for what it really is, that the fact that it is a holographic stroke kind of digital world? Because like I said, nothing is actually solid. Nothing's really matter. It's just, that's just vibration expressing itself in a physical form in the reality it's in. So those twinkles and the sparkles we see in the sky, that's got to be the frequency and the vibration of the universe expressing itself to us, and we're seeing it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, when you're watching Sky TV and the TV digitalized, it goes weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, that's all, obviously, they're just squared pixels, really, but generally we don't see it in a pixel form because it's all so small, and then it creates a smooth image. But for whatever reason, we are at times seeing just the vibration that it actually is.
Yeah.
Although you're still seeing the sky being blue and you're seeing the clouds white, etc., but you're seeing the vibration that's creating that image.
Yeah.
Remember, your eyes, the physical sight, only picks up, well, it's a stupid small number. I can't even quite remember what it is now. It's something like 0.001 of the spectrum or something, what we see, or 1% of the spectrum we have. And because animals have a greater perspective with their vision than we do. They see more colors and things and energy than we do, you know. So when we see things in our environment, we're only seeing it from the perspective of how the mind is being programmed to visualize it. So we are in a holographic world, a world that is created in energy, but our eyes is looking at something, and then it's just transforming that vibrational energy into something that looks physical. And then because the way the mind is working, we experience it as a solid matter because we are solid in this reality. You know? You got anything you want to say?
I'm just listening, like, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree. It is the way we interpret the vibration of things is the depth. Like, if I touch a table, it's only because it's vibrating at a different vibration to me that it feels solid. But
Yeah.
if I could vibrate at the same vibration as the table, I could, in theory, put my hand through it, into it, and mold of it.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's only that we're all vibrating, the different vibrational patterns of everything mean that we're able to be separate.
Yeah.
Even while not being separate.
Well, it's our experiences that are individual and separate from everything, but it's not, because there is no separation.
No,
our
it's just a different vibration. It's like
it's
we're all part of the
perception.
same thing, just vibrating at different speeds.
We're all at different points of awareness, you know. Like what we were saying earlier on about clairsentience, there will be people that have experiences with the spirit world where they see a shadow and they don't think nothing of it. They'll just think somebody has moved in their environment and they've seen their shadow and they won't think anything of it. And there'll be people that get cold shivers, smelling of tobacco and perfume, or, you know, you might, if someone likes, I don't know, jam sandwiches for instance, for an example, and you know no one in your house is making a jam sandwich, and then you suddenly have an experience of smelling it. Where did that smell of the jam sandwich come from? Why did it just happen suddenly,
Crazy, isn't it?
spontaneously? Is it your mind manifesting that to make you think, oh, I fancy a jam sandwich, which there's one possibility that that could be the case, that mind could do that because the mind is that powerful. Or, you know, someone's father in the spirit world loved jam sandwiches and he's decided to be around his daughter in the living room while she's got her feet up on the sofa watching telly, and he's decided to come into her presence and give her the smell of jam sandwiches, and then they will smell it and they may think, oh gosh, my dad used to eat jam sandwiches, and then they would think of their dad, or, you know, or a loved one that represents jam sandwiches, or
Yeah.
they may think, oh, why am I smelling jam sandwiches, and then just rule it out and forget it and just carry on with their normal thing.
It's funny, you know, because before I was ever knew that I was psychic or a medium, my granddad died when I was 18. And every now and again, just doing nothing. One time I was just walking along the street with my son, who I was 21 at this point. And I just suddenly smelt my granddad's house. I'm walking down the street, wide open space.
Mm-hmm.
And the smell of the great, you know, everyone's house has a distinctive smell that reminds you of them. And there was just this smell that was Granddad's house. And it just hit me. And I walked down the street and walked how far, and it was still with me. So I was like, it weren't just that spot I was in then. This smells following me. And so that made me think of my granddad.
Yeah.
And then when I first knew that I had a gift, the first thing that started happening to me was smells.
Yeah.
I'd know spirit was around me because I got a certain, like almost like that smell after rain.
Yeah.
Would come in my nostrils.
Yeah.
And then I'd start getting the sensation in my ear.
Okay.
And then I'd start getting the feeling of how the person passed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I spoke to you recently that I realised how clairsentient I am.
Yeah.
I'd always just called myself a clairvoyant, like empath.
Yeah.
And then when I was looking at stuff for us to talk today, I realised that I am overridingly clairsentient.
Well,
I am
being
an empath.
empathic is part of clairsentience.
Yeah, it's definitely part. What I tried to do is look at contrasting them. And like clairsentient is described as a definition as feeling things like strongly. So like when you're a medium, if you feel how someone passed away, or like you said, if you feel like someone around you, or if someone has that feeling, I feel like someone's looking at me, I feel like eyes are on me, I feel like someone was watching me when I was lying there. People always say that, but they don't dig any further.
Yeah.
And then empaths seem to be about feeling things, but then attaching it more to an emotional side, as in like that I could feel that person feels sad, which is still clairsentient too, but then it's the projection of it as the like all that the projection, like they're taking in as have I caused that upset because I feel this, and then taking it on too much, and then taking on this, and it just is like, but an empath, a controlled empath, and one who's learned what it is, it's a very powerful skill, like clairsentience. They can be, all of them can be a superpower when used properly, but very overwhelming when not understood.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You see, realistically, we're all mediums because we're all energy. We're all spirit living in a physical body. We're incarnated in this physical body, and we're all mediums, really. It's just when we're born into this world, we're born with different types of awareness. I won't use the word level because then people think, well, I'm better than them. No one's better than anybody. We are just different.
And we've all made a different contract, haven't we? We all made a different choice.
Yeah.
So some people within their contract, they didn't come here to be majorly spiritually aware. That wasn't what they came to learn this time. Maybe they've done that before.
Yeah.
So isn't that some of us do it and some can't?
No.
Is that some of us, this was a path we were supposed to walk, and some people just, that weren't their thing.
No, and they've forgot that element. But the truth is, because we're all energy, we all can do it. We all can communicate with the spirit world. There's going to come a point in time where mediumship will not able to be a profession anymore, because the whole of humanity will be ascended enough where they're all doing what we're doing anyway. You know, the way I do readings now, it's very changed. When I do readings now, it's not about proving survival, although we can through the evidence. But the only way you're truly going to know the truth of eternal survival of the spirit and soul is if you experience it yourself. A medium can give you all the evidence they require to prove the existence of a soul. And yes, that does bring comfort to people that are missing their loved ones. But truthfully, to have an ounce of an understanding of what the spirit world is, you have to experience it. You have to embrace it. And that's why it's important. You have to meditate. You have to go to the mindset and understanding that you are energy, and that is it. When you look in the mirror, all you are seeing is the character you're playing in this lifetime, because that is all we are, a character. Because when we leave this lifetime, we go to another one, and we're somebody else. So stop getting so wrapped up in you, because really you ain't you. You're an illusion. Because, you know, there's elements that at times we can portray ourselves in one environment as one kind of person, and then go to another environment and portray ourselves as somebody else. You're role playing. But when you find out who and what you truly are, and you know who and what you are the same person in every environment. You express yourself as your true self. You don't live a lie.
I don't think you can go wrong when you're in your authenticity. I think when you're acting from a place of authenticity, any choice you make, even if the outcome doesn't appear great, it's still the right outcome, because you chose from you. So many times in life you realize you're making a choice for someone else. Or you're making a choice, like you might be, oh, what would my aunt say? or what would my mum say, what would my uncle say if I made this certain choice? So I'll make this choice because this is a choice what make other people happy.
That's the problem with humanity, isn't it? That's the problem with a lot of us. I mean, I do it a lot. We do things to please others, and the only person that suffers is the self.
Yeah.
But really, we have to be sometimes selfish, you know? And it doesn't mean in a sense to be horrible, but you have to think of number one first, which is you. If you spread your energy out too much and help everybody too much, you are going to burn out. You will burn out spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, everything, because for energy to truly work, it has to flow. And if you're just give, your battery is going to run out, you know, and it's going to come with a consequence. So you have to look after your body. And that's, and for some, the lockdown may be good for some people that have worked their guts out, which is brilliant for them. And now they're in a way that they can sort of recover for 3 months, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the world has slowed down a bit. And I think because of the way the world has slowed down, this lockdown has happened, it's again changed the environment of the planet. It's changed the atmosphere and the ambience of the planet. Animals are acting different. And the sky looks different. You know, we're seeing more blue, clear skies now because we're not bombarded by planes, you know. But in time, that's going to change again. And they're going to, well, I mean, the airways are open anyway. But because those changes have happened and the energy on the planet has changed, it's allowed the universe to be closer to us and express more freely with us.
Yeah. It feels a lot like what Halloween, which is like Samhain for the pagans. When the veil between the two worlds is at its thinnest on that night.
Yeah.
It's like that night every night.
Yeah.
It's become like that all the time. Like the veil became thin sometime last year and then just stayed thin. It's like there's a reason the universe knows now that we have to, with the vibration of Gaia raising, that we have to become closer to the spirit world for us to understand our spiritual essence more. So we're more so reminded of that spiritual essence that we are, that's within us, without outside of us, everything that we are. So when we connect with those in the spirit realm, you feel there's no separation.
Yeah.
Because there's not one part of this universe that's empty. Not one. Every part is filled with us, spirits, deities, everything.
Yeah.
Elementals. The universe is jam-packed.
You know, people say they're separated from the things, right? From the universe, from the Mother Nature, from the planet. Go and sit either in the middle of a field where birds are singing and stuff, or by a root of a tree for peace and quiet for 10 or 15 minutes, and then tell me you're not connected to that energy. Because regardless of what your awareness is, there will be a moment where you will feel oneness with everything. You know, when I was writing my book last year, I had to help a friend deal with, well, what happened last year? Last year was a dodgy start of the year. a friend of ours in my year at school committed suicide on my birthday, and that triggered a friend of mine that I live near to a Great Depression and suicidal thoughts. So for about 4 months of last year, I had to work with that person and be with them practically every day or every other day and build them up until I could step away and start writing my book more. But I had to make sure, and I was with that person for like 5 or 6 hours a day, and then their husband returned home to look after them from work, you know, because the shock of that trauma, of that loss, just messed them up. So what, because we used to take walks in the woods and you know, the fields and stuff, because we love the nature, the universe said, take her there every day and make her sit in the nature and meditate with her every day. And 3 or 4 months, completely different person.
Connected
And,
with nature.
you know, and the person knew what I did for a long time. They used to sit in my shop when I had my shop, and if I was doing readings, they used to watch my shop for me. So they are aware of the spirit world and they believe in it. They just don't understand certain things. So when we meet up, they've got a free tutor for the day. But you know, but it was good going out and being in nature and taking them through guided meditations in nature, surrounded by the trees and the birds singing.
Yeah.
And that person had to face some serious demons. Serious demons. And I don't mean demons as in, you know, being attacked. I'm on about personal inner demons, which is what we all have to face to awaken ourselves. Your spiritual development is not a pretty journey. It's not all fairies and rainbows and angel dust. Sometimes it's going in and being in a place that's so dark, you want to shoot yourself because you've come to a realization of what this world is like, really like. And sometimes it can be a bit much to know that you're living a lie.
Yeah.
Especially the size of the lie that it is we're living.
Yeah. I think that's the empath side, isn't it? Where you connect with what is going on in this world and how much you abhor some of the stuff that goes on, and you just look at other people who don't care.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do you not care? Like, this is dreadful because we feel it so much. Because it just means so much. Because anything we hear about, we can almost be there, like feel it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard as an empath to understand how other people don't, because you're like, how do you not feel how I feel about this? So when you go through like what some people call the dark night of the soul, and you start facing yourself, your shadow side, so you face what's the shadow within you, and you're facing what's the shadow outside of you, and you just think, this is all shadow. Like, why am I even bothering? This is horrible. And then you can get ascension symptoms, where you can get physical pains, headaches, body aches. You can go through like a depression or anxiety or illness. All manifestation of awakening. And so, like you said, awakening is not always pretty at all. And you don't just go through one. There's times you've gone through your awakening, you think you've gone through it, then bam,
you go for another one.
They upgrade you.
I mean, for the last 2 years I've been going through various ascensions and dealing with various things in my own life, coming to many different realizations. And I even learned some about karma to do with my family heritage and stuff, which I can't even talk about on YouTube. But because it's so deep and messed up, really.
Yeah.
But then you find out you're the one that's the one in the family tree that's got to cut all that karma off.
Which is called the ambassador of the bloodline. So there's one person who might be the only person in about 2 generations.
Yeah.
No, nobody else, and it's on you to save your bloodline,
Yeah.
to clear the karma, to clear the ancestral trauma.
Yeah.
And everyone else is looking at you like you're the weirdo of the family. And you're
Oh, yeah.
like I'm trying to save everyone here.
That's right. And yeah, going through those dark elements of the soul is not pretty, but then it does come with great reward, because when you do get through it and you can look back and realize what you've learned and how far you've grown, then it's like, wow, yeah, I can see it now. I can see why that happened.
Yes.
And it was because I wasn't taking responsibility or whatever it was.
I did a lot of shadow work in the last year, and some of the things I had to face about myself,
Yeah.
things that I didn't know were really part of my personality. So I'd be triggered by something, think, why are you triggered? So
Yeah.
every time I was triggered, I'd go into it, then I'd step into what's triggered you.
Yeah.
And I realised it's something with me, like it's something that's bothered me. Like I found out that I'm quite competitive.
Mm.
So I've had to put that, the way I've dealt with it is, okay, you're competitive. So when you see someone doing well, you feel like, oh, I've got to do well then because they're doing well, but not in a positive way. Like I was angry with myself. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, transmute that then into just about you, your journey. So when you do well, that make it trigger you to do better. And when
Yeah.
you do better, make it trigger you to do, don't look at anyone else. And as soon as I acknowledged it and said, yes, that's part of my personality, and then decided to change it and mold it into a positive aspect,
Yeah.
it's gone away. Now I don't feel that competition, like that I need to keep up with other people. This is just a competition with myself, and that's positive and fine. But
That, you could say that's a form of an ego death, because you have many of them. I had one in December, and it was a big one, and it was actually the ego death I had that made me realize I'd had previous many ego deaths, but I didn't know what they were. I just knew there were elements of growth, but I didn't know that it was labeled ego death. But we have to have them, because to be truly part of the 5D and resonating and expressing as a fifth dimensional conscious soul, you have to contain, and you have to contain your ego. Because the competitiveness, yeah, okay, we get competitive, it's part of the human nature in us, or part of this world, but really being competitive is against the electromagnetic field of the body, because it's not working with moral integrity. If you watch sport and you just want to win and be the best, that's not moral integrity, because you're doing it just to be better than everybody else.
Yeah.
That's the ego.
Yeah.
You're not doing it to partake and enjoy and embrace the experience. You want to be the winner, so you can say, I'm the champion, I am the best. But you're never the best, because somebody else will always replace you.
You often find that the people who are the best at something, not like obviously out there sports, because obviously that's something you have to do, but the people who are the best at certain skills are usually the ones who are quiet about it, the ones who aren't trying to show they're the best. because I've watched some people who do what we do, and the ego is strong in them. Like, they're literally saying, I'm the most powerful, I'm the strongest, and they give themselves these names that suggest they're the most powerful galactic warrior in the world, which is fine. Do
Angel
you?
Morpheus Escobar.
Exactly. Do you, boo? It's fine. But what you find is they're probably not the person that they are labeling themselves as. That's an ego boost. Because some of the most beautiful, humble readers will give you the most beautiful message, because their vessel that they're channeling through is full of love and beautifulness, and not, let me show you that I'm so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like if you if you tip water through a dirty plant pot, you get bits of whatever was in the plant pot come through the bottom. If you do it through a nice clean vessel, you'll only get the straight message through, without their embellished bits.
Yeah.
That are just to show they're so amazing.
Yeah. The problem with the ego, when we work with spirit and we do readings and stuff, if the ego is not contained or controlled, and we do private readings and things, or platform, the ego does come out in messages, because certain parts of the medium's ego can be expressed in the message, because the way they think, or the way they are, that their arrogance or their ignorance is distorting, or allowing the message to be slightly distorted in and then when it comes through their ego, they change it, and like a big terrible thing that's a lot's happening at the minute is mediums telling people when so and so is going to die. It's the most sickening thing I hear all the time. Someone shared a post the other day about it, and someone was petrified because a medium told them that they had 2 days to live, and they had to sort all this stuff out in these couple of days. I don't know.
I'm just like,
I know. I don't know why they think saying something like that is going to do their reputation of a medium any good whatsoever.
what do they want? The shock value? What do you think you are, like Simon Cowell of the clairvoyant world? What do you want someone to be impressed about, to walk out terrified and go and tell their family, and their family be terrified?
It's the total lack of personal responsibility. I can never imagine in a million years the likes of the old pioneers like Gordon Higginson and Doris Stokes and the many like that. They would never say anything like that from the spirit world. Oh, you need to sort your finances out, love, because you're going to be dead on Thursday. The spirit world will never tell a medium that the recipient that's having the reading is going to die. Never. That is not from the spirit world. That is from the ego of the medium. And I can tell you that now as gospel fact.
Yeah, and that's from the darkest side of their ego as well. That's like...
Yeah. If a medium is telling you that someone is going to die, or you're going to die in 6 months with cancer, that's the ego. The universe, the spirit world, do not predict death, even though they would know or have an idea when someone is going to pass, because they know how you live in your life. But natural law, universal law, they're not allowed to create distress or harm or loss. If a loved one come through and told you that information, they're broken universal law.
Actually, last Friday I was giving a lady a reading, and her sister come through, and her sister brought through so much evidence, moments that nobody else in the world knew about.
Yeah.
Really private little moments, conversations, what happened on different birthdays, everything. The next day, she comes up to me and said, "You didn't tell me what was going to happen this morning, did you?" And I said, "Well, what happened?" "My father-in-law died." And she meant her father-in-law from her ex-husband, not a current husband. And I'm like, I said to her, "Well, why would your sister tell me that your ex-husband's dad was going to die?
Yeah.
Why would you think about that? Why would she tell me that?" And like just what you're saying now, there's no way would it be told to me.
It's a lack of understanding from the people that have messages, because they're not trained themselves personally. They don't understand the ethics of mediumship because they're not meant to. They're the general public. But a medium should be trained with personal responsibility. And if they're not, and they do things that they shouldn't be doing it.
You can cause long-term damage.
Yeah, of course you can. You know, you're dealing with people that are already severely emotionally distressed anyway because of a loss of a loved one. You know, that you don't know when someone comes for a reading, you don't know how a loved one of theirs has died. You know, a lot of the time when people come for readings, yes, the majority when people come for readings, it's the usual, you know, natural cause of death, or it is heart attack, or it is cancer, or it's normal things. But there are times as a medium, you're going to face someone that has had their child brutally murdered. And that child could be 4 and be brutally murdered. And they've come to you for a reading, and your ego won't do you any good for that, because you will need every ounce of compassion in your soul to deal with that. And to bring that in, you would need a lot of strength in your heart to cope with that emotional trauma attached to that soul and the loved one that's dealing with it in the physical.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a couple of people that have had loved ones murdered, and it's bad.
Yeah, I've had a couple of horrific type of.
It's not good, you know. But you know, that's like, you know, the dark part of working with spirit, because there is the dark and there is the light, but it's not all doom and gloom with the universe. Like we were saying about apports earlier on, and when they come and present themselves to us, they do it through unconditional love. They don't do it to frighten you, although yeah, there is times they may startle you. They've definitely startled me. You know, my mate who's in the spirit world, who took his own life, was the reason why I'm on the path I'm on. A few years into my development, I knew there was somebody standing over me in bed, and I had my back to them, and I thought, is it my mum or what? And I turned round, and it was my mate from the spirit world. He went, boo! And I did kick myself because I didn't expect it. And I seen him and then rolled back the other way. And I was like, oh my God, you're out of order. and then I could hear him laughing. And thankfully, he's only done it once. He'd done it because he knew I could handle it. But generally, the spirit world don't do things to frighten you. They do it to prove the existence of an eternal being, of eternal life. They do it to show you that energy is a continuous force. Love doesn't die.
No.
You know, I was lucky in a sense. Yeah, I would say I was lucky. When I got the news my mum was ill on the day she died, and we had to rush to the hospital, and I was wait on the street for a lift, and they never turned up. But that's anyway. But while I was waiting for a lift, my guide was talking to me, And he's like, look, you're going to have to close your church because your mum is in the spirit world. And I'm like, no, she ain't. He's like, yes, she is. I would not lie to you. And I'm like, no. And I got very angry with my guide in the middle of the street. And I was like, no, don't say things like that to me. That, you know, you're supposed to love and protect me. You're not supposed to tell me stuff like that a loved one's died. I've got to get to the hospital. She's going to be all right. I'm going to do a Reiki and she'll be fine. And he's like, she's in the spirit world. And then all of a sudden, as I was going to say, no, she isn't, she appeared in front of me in the street to prove that she was in the spirit world. And even for that moment, even though I experienced her presence in the street, my mind still didn't accept it, even though my eyes saw it. And I brushed it off and got on the bus with my girlfriend at that time, and we got to the hospital. And I was like, is she in the spirit world? Is she not? I just couldn't work it out then. And then when I got to the hospital, yeah, she was definitely in the spirit world. I've missed her by about 7 minutes or something like that. So she was in the spirit world definitely when I was in the street. So it was definitely her appearing herself to me before I even physically knew she was gone. So, you know, my mum knew. I must have been the first person my mum came to when she died, because obviously she knew I was the one in the family that is a developing medium and works with the spirit world all the time. So I had her, you know, appear in front of me. And that day was just full of lots of phenomena. That day she died. When my girlfriend at that time was having, it's strange how it happened, because my mum died the same day. My girlfriend at the time was due an MRI on her hand, because we went fishing weeks before and she fell and she broke her hand, and they were doing some MRI tests on it. And we found out my mum had died, and her appointment was at 11 o'clock. My mum had been gone about 35 minutes. And when my girlfriend went to go for the appointment, she went into the room, and every time my girlfriend put her hand in the MRI machine to get the scan, all the machine kept turning off. And it happened 3 times. And the nurse was getting flummoxed. She's like, I've got a really busy day. I can do without this. And she's like, I don't know what's happening with the machine. It's been fine all morning. And now you're here. It's just cut off randomly 3 times in the space of 2 minutes. It was my mum turning off the MRI machine. You got spookies in your house?
Yeah, it had a funny sound that sounded like it went above my bedroom ceiling, but then outside and down the house. I could hear like a rattling above my... And then I heard it go out, though. That was very strange.
I don't know.
No, sorry.
Just go.
I was like... Well...
We can expect spirit phenomena can happen at any time. Our moods will alter when spirit phenomena happens. You know, if we are low, the spirit world may give you more signs that they're around, so you know you're not alone.
Yeah.
You know. So go on.
Have you seen in old films? Well, not old films, but any films that do like when they do a seance and they have that physical phenomena, the ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm, yeah.
I find that really like creepy but fascinating.
I've witnessed physical phenomena like that on 3 occasions. I've been to 2 physical mediumship demonstrations. One on 2 occasions, no, one occasion was Gene Skinner, and I think I'd been developing about 5 or 6 years. So I'd known about physical phenomena, but I'd never experienced it. I didn't know what transfiguration was.
Oh, I've watched that. I've watched Transfiguration.
And Jean Skinner, bless her soul, because she's in the spirit world now. She was a beautiful lady. And I was lucky to get to see her about 15 years ago. And I was lucky to sit near the front because of my eyes. I told the church I'm partially sighted. I need to be near the front. So they put me near the front, right near the medium. And I could see the meaning of the face, the face of the medium change. And when I looked at the medium, I looked and I was like, I know that woman over the face of the medium. I know that face. And then the woman sitting next to me was my mum's friend, Hazel. She's like, oh my gosh, that's my mum. And I knew that was Hazel's mum because Hazel had a private reading off me about a month before or something, and I'd seen her mum in the spirit world. So when she appeared over the medium, it was confirmation to me that I'd saw her from the spirit world, and confirmation to Hazel that it was a mum. Because when she said, it's my mum, I turned, I was like, I knew it was, I could see it. And then she sat in front of the medium and had a private message off her.
Yeah.
And then there was another occasion where I seen another demo, and they were doing transfiguration and stuff. And then I was away in December last year, doing a demo of mediumship. But we arranged to do a private physical demo in the house, and there was only 3 of us. There was 3 or 4 of us in that room that night, and we used a little red light with the medium in the cabinet. And as the medium was sitting in the cabinet or the chair, about 2 foot away from in the middle of the room, an arm appeared in the middle of the room out of nowhere, a solid arm just floating in the room. And where the arm was, the other people were nowhere near that, because obviously where we were seated, we're not allowed to move. And one person was one side of me, then the other person was the opposite side of me as well. So I knew where everybody was, and obviously all 3 of us could see where the medium was. And this arm just appeared just out of nowhere. It was like they were reaching to touch the medium in the cabinet. Yeah, it was amazing. And we had trumpets, because you have trumpets that have luminous bands on them. So when spirit moved them, you see them move in the dark. And they would dematerializing and materializing back in the room every so often. They would disappear and then coming back. And that's the power of universal energy.
I needed a toilet break.
No, it was just when you are sitting with the right-minded people and you ask the universe to do that, they fully comply with unconditional love. If you set the boundaries and the guidelines, you say a prayer, you set the right intentions that you are communicating with unconditional love, you only follow universal law, and you only want truth, then that you've got nothing to worry about. If it's all about intention with the universe, because whatever you put out to the universe reflects it back to you. So if your intention is not good, you're going to get bit on the backside. It's as plain as simple as that. But if you send out love and you work with your heart, the universe will express that back to you. It's like your day-to-day life. If your mind is in the right mindset, your life will go to plan. But if you're thinking of dark thoughts all the time, then you'll only be aware of the darkness that comes around you, because you become a reflection of that. Because what comes from within you is expressed externally into your reality. So if you allow all your demons to come out from within you, you're going to see them. And that's why it's important. We have to do the soul work we do. what did you say? Yeah, so as regards to spirit phenomena, it, generally speaking, it shouldn't be feared, or we shouldn't worry about it because we are part of the universe and the universe is part of us. We're all one and the same. We're all one. We're all divinely connected by that etherical cord. And we've got to, people have got to understand and know your loved ones loved you on the earth, so they're going to love you the same or even more from the spirit world. So when you have phenomena, spirit phenomena, don't instantly think that I've got a poltergeist in my house, because that's the most common reaction I get when phenomena happens and then people get in touch. They automatically presume it's got to be a bad spirit because something's moved, or they can feel cold in the bathroom, or whatever it is. You see, this is programming from the TV. This is all because of people watching horror films like Paranormal Activity, The Exorcist, all that mind-boggling crap that is to program your subconsciousness to make you think that every element of the spirit world is demonic and evil, when that is not true. Yeah. Because it's not true. It's just not true. When you have phenomena, it will be your loved ones 9 times out of 10. They are naturally wanting to come to you to allow you to feel their presence. So when you respond that they're around, then they know that you know they're there. You see, because they are still trying to communicate to you. Because obviously we're so obviously this world is obviously, the majority of the time, it's all physical communication. We speak verbally, our body language, etc. It's all physical communication. But because the universe uses the mind, because it's a thought world, we have to adapt our mind or change the way we think to allow the essence and the communication from spirit to be more natural. Meditation is the most natural thing we can do. The only reason it feels unnatural is because you don't do it regularly enough. That's why it doesn't feel natural. It's like I'm trying to learn to play guitar and my fingers feel very unnatural on the fretboard, but that's because my hand's not trained to work the strings all the time. But until you start working your fingers and working the fretboard on the guitar, then you know it improves, and your mediumship and your ability with communicating with the spirit world is exactly the same. The more effort you put in, the more reward you're going to get from it. So you have to sit.
I think it's very much about the person as well. Like everything, they say like attracts like.
Yeah.
So if you know that you are operating from a bad place as a person,
yeah,
then of course there's a good chance you're going to attract things that vibrate at that level what you're vibrating at.
Yeah.
So firstly, if you're fearing the spirit world, maybe look at firstly, well, what are you putting out there energetically, and raise your vibration. Try and be a better person. Just try and step it up a little bit. Try and work more from the heart and less from the ego. And then there's also things you can do, like I say when I speak to my ancestors, because I was taught first that you can speak to any ancestors, it doesn't matter. And then I was taught that, you know, some haven't actually moved on enough yet, and their energy isn't where it needs to be to work with you. So I say now, can the ancestors who work with the love and from the light, and who have my highest good in their in their interests,
Yes.
will they draw forward and work with me?
Yeah.
And then they help protect me against any that are not ready to take on that role because they're not yet in that space of love. So
Yeah.
they might still be in that judgmental stage because they haven't quite clicked into the spirit world properly yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you just speak to your guides, your gate, if you want to call it a gatekeeper,
Yeah.
speak to your ancestors, anyone, and just be very clear on who and what energy you want around you, then they're very forthcoming in doing that. They want to help us. They want to work with us. So anything that's a fear for you, turn it from a fear, change your perspective and your perception, and make it just a request to spirit. Like,
Yeah.
I only want to work with love. I only want to work with things that are in my highest good. I want to work with spirits that work towards the betterment of humanity.
Yeah.
And the betterment of my life, my children's life, whatever. Just make it clear. The same way if you would tell anyone else, if they said, well, what do you want? You say, well, this is what I want. You just tell them. They're willing to listen. And from things I said to mine early on, they have held up their side of the bargain. One of the things I said before I even knew about the rules of mediumship was I didn't want to know about death. I didn't want to get an inkling. I didn't want to know anything about it. And I haven't really. I've only ever once got a kind of essence, and the person not said it to me anyway. The kind of anything you can ask them, they try, and they not try. They do. They're very clear. If you speak clearly to them without any double meanings, don't do double meanings with the spirit world. Straight, clear, plain talking.
Yeah.
And they're fine. No metaphors or nothing. Just
Be direct.
what you mean. Straight what you mean.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. When you're going to work with the spirit world, make sure your intentions are clear. 100% true. Yes. Yeah. And always make sure your intention is for the greater good of humanity.
You're not just lottery numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. If you are working for the universe and you are a working medium, your true incentive and intention should be for the purpose of the greater good of humanity and be of service to others, not to fund a rich lifestyle. Yes, we have to earn a living. That's fine. We understand that because money is an exchange of energy, but
that shouldn't be your goal. If that ends up the byproduct of what you do, then fine.
Yeah, that's correct. You know, your goal should be heal 1 million hearts, not earn $1 million.
And if it is to earn $1 million, $1 million should be to do something that helps humanity. Like, at least even the intention for the money should be that you've got this big plan
to do
helping a massive healing center or something.
Yeah.
Not just because you want to go loco down in Acapulco.
Yeah. It's all about a flow of energy. You know, like we were saying earlier, like I said, I was with a friend yesterday. They text me out the blue, and I know they struggle with depression and so on. And they came round yesterday, and we spent several hours together laughing and joking and watching a few films and stuff. And then, like, you know, if you got a couple of quid, so I can get some chips. Of course. So I went to the chippy, had a bag of chips, and then, you know, they're saying like, oh, I've been eating sandwiches for the last day or two or something like that, they said. So then, you know, then I fed them in the evening as well, because I had vegetable curry from the night before that I'd made, and it had to be eaten. So it was enough for both of us. So I fed him, and then also gave him £5 because I knew they needed it until they got paid today or whenever it was, you know. And it's about giving back. It's about allowing energy to be a continuous flow.
Yeah.
All your daily intentions should be out of compassion and unconditional love towards somebody else, not for your own personal gain. You shouldn't do something to expect something in return. You should do something just purely out the goodness of your heart.
Definitely.
That's your true incentive. That is your true intention of what it should be.
I keep seeing things the last couple of weeks that say the important thing with being spiritual is that it should be always like that. Like, so the way me and you work together, always giving and take, give and take, give and take. So we're building this energy up between us because there's no one-sided. It's a reciprocal.
Yeah.
And there's reciprocity every time in our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. Even if it's not directly with the person you're doing it with at that point, there should be some feed to you while you feed to someone. There should never be everything stops with you and you give out.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to develop relationships with others so there can be that in and out thing, in and out. So there's always flow and movement. So everything, it's like if you're just a sponge that's full of water and you're not squeezing it out, you're not going to take anything more in. So I've got to give and then I've got to accept. So I've got to give but still accept from other people that I need to still learn and feel and grow. And if we're all doing that, giving and accepting, because some people are terrible. I used to be terrible at accepting. You run on empty. So the whole thing is working from the heart space and giving from the heart and receiving into the heart. And if we all were doing that all the time, we would all be building up the same all the time. It's just that some people are not yet don't know how to give, and some people don't know how to receive. But everyone needs to learn. Like with manifestation, people ask and then they don't do the receive bit because they get fed up. You got it's give and receive everything. You've got people have got to do both so that we can all rise up together.
You know, also many times you hear people will start tying up now. When you hear people in the churches, I never get a message. No one ever comes to me. And it's not because they're a bad person that people don't want to talk to them. It's because they say they want a message and they say, but when the medium is probably trying to connect with them, they're not giving anything out. They've put a wall up because they're like, I don't want them to know this, this, and this about me. And then you can create blocks. And it makes it harder for the medium to communicate. Or it's because the spirit world rather that person doesn't want to give out X, Y, and Z, or isn't really ready for that message, so they don't. But it is, when you go for a reading, you should be open, not in the sense that you sit in front of the medium and the medium tell you something and then you offload your life story to them. You say yes or no to something they're saying so they know they're on the right wavelength.
Sometimes just that yes or no from their voice brings through the communication more from the person.
You know, because it is vibration. So there is I would seriously expect more increased phenomena now over the next period of 5-6 months.
Definitely. And just get ready for it, people. Raise your vibration. Be good to yourself. Think about what you put in your body. Think about what's around you. Think about what relationships you've got around you, what you might need to cut ties with on a physical level. It doesn't mean you have to stop loving people, but if they're toxic to you, anything that's toxic to you, try and minimalize it.
Yeah.
But try and get into a good space, because it's going to be needed for this further rise in vibration and for the further awakening and for humanity, because we all need to get together now and vibrate at the same frequency so that we can all rise together and rise with Gaia and do what we came here to do.
Exactly.
The laughter, raise the vibration.
Yeah. Yeah, we have got to keep our vibration high, especially this time during the lockdown and the way things are. But the world is going through a change, so you're going to have to expect a rough time at the minute. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say.
Yeah.
You know? But the way we're going to get through all this stuff right now is togetherness. It's the only way humanity is going to survive what the government is doing.
Yeah.
We have to pull together now and be together and work as one, because the true war is, it is us, the people, against them. They don't care about you. They never have done, they never will. How can somebody that's on 200 grand a year that apparently runs the country care about you? He's on 200 grand a year. He don't care. He's still getting paid.
It's almost like spiritual against narcissistic psychopaths, isn't it? That's the war at the moment.
The war of light and dark.
Yeah. And be the light. Be the light.
Absolutely. Yeah. Be the light. Meditate in light. Visualize light being around you all the time. You know, for every negative thought that comes into your mind right now, no matter what the negative thought is, replace it with 3 positive ones. Now, that's a hard thing to do. It's not something I do very often, but it does work when we do it.
So you can monitor your thoughts, because we have so many, but even if you don't know can acknowledge each thought, acknowledge the feeling that you feel in your body with a set of thoughts.
Yeah.
And then shift the feeling, because we have so many thoughts. So shift the feeling and you'll shift the thoughts.
Yeah.
Because this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, not all the thoughts that are in your mind are your thoughts. But that's for another video.
Yeah, that's for the next one.
Because not all thoughts in your mind are your thoughts.
Not really.
You know, so, but we'll leave you to ponder on that one.
Yeah.
But we'd like to thank you all for listening this evening and in our video. And, you know, we hope you found this subject interesting, and we hope you learned something from it, because that's the whole purpose of these videos, that you are learning something from it and taking something from these videos. So from me, please take my love, my light, my blessings, and take care of yourselves until next time.
Namaste.